And today we have a very special guest, Sister Harris.
So first I would like to start off with a scripture. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, so I'm going to come from Jeremiah 29:11. This is my absolute favorite scripture. And it reads, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." And what I think about that is, I think that speaks to my past. I am a victim of abuse. As a child, from age 2 to 12, I was molested by different people, uncles, friends of the family, cousins, but it was all me. And then I went from 2 to 12. At 13, I, consensually had relations. And then at 14, my mom started seeing this guy. And she had been seeing him for maybe about a month, and then he moved in with us. And so shortly thereafter, it stopped at 12 with all of those other people I named, and then from there it picked up with this man that my mom was seeing. And that went on into from my childhood. Like I said, I was 14 all the way up until adulthood. And it caused me to struggle with relationships, looking for love in the wrong places. A lot of times we as women, and my father was there, but he wasn't in the home. My definition of love was skewed. It really was. It was skewed. So anyway, like I said, I struggled with relationships throughout my life. Promiscuity. I thank God I never got on drugs or anything, but people do. They get addicted to drugs. My addiction was sex. It was. It was seeking the attention of men, seeking the attention of boys, even as a little girl. It was I needed that attention. It was I craved it, and it's unfortunate. I say all the time, I know that God made us to be sexual beings. He did, He made us. But that's why marriage is a sacred thing, because of the soul ties and all of that. But anyway, like I said, that was my struggle.
What brought you out of feeling down, or how you felt about relationships, how you felt about men? How did you overcome that?
You know what? I remember being in church one day, and I had my daughter at this time. I have 4 children. I had my daughter at this time. She's the oldest. And I remember being at church one day. I've always had a compassionate heart, even as a kid. And so it was never, I still was loving to these people that would do this stuff to me. But I remember being at church one day, and I was just God, because I would always feel dang, is there something across my forehead to say, abuse me, misuse me? That's honestly how I felt. And I remember being at church one day, and I remember just sticking my hands up, and I'm just God, is this going to be my life? This life of dysfunction, this life of, just this emotional roller coaster, in and out of bad relationships, just not being able to get it right. And it was I think at that moment, not that I didn't pray before, but I think that at that moment, I felt that was when God began to, really do a work in me. I've had like with my family, I was the black sheep of my family when the situation came to the light as far as the man that my mom, was dating. And so I walked around like with that banner of shame, like being the black sheep of the family. But I was okay with that because, and the reason I say that is because when God allows you that freedom, like even though it like created an uproar in my family, I'm not lying, like the weight that was lifted off of my shoulders, not having to carry that secret, not having to carry that burden anymore, it was liberating. It really, really was, So like I said, I think that day in church, it just kind of started. I began to prepare. I began to, I would go to garage sales and buy furniture and didn't even have a place to live yet. But I was preparing because I knew that I would never be free from the situation as far as the man that my mom was involved. I knew I would never be free until I came from up under that roof.
While that situation was going on, was you mad at your mom for letting it happen, or when it happened, did you ever tell your mom, and how did she handle it?
I didn't tell her. I was a master of disguise.
Okay, so did it ever come out? When it did come, how did she take
what
that?
It came out, it was 3 weeks before I got married.
Really?
It was 3 weeks before I got married. So, I mean, and during the whole time, with it, because this situation with this man, it happened for years, years. And a lot of times people can say, well, how could you do that? That was your mother. Just everything was skewed. And honestly, it's unfortunate, but I didn't have a real close relationship with my mom. My aunt, and she's deceased now, God rest her soul, but she was my connection in terms of, as a little girl, I always found myself, for instance, how I see you young ladies, y'all love some Mama J, And when I was a little girl, I found myself searching, just looking at different women, just wanting that connection, that you would normally get from your mom. So, I don't know. It was just, I don't know. But in the process, I would tell him this is wrong. We gotta stop doing this. But it was
so it was consensual. It was both
It was no. I never felt oh my God. I never felt like that.
Really?
I honestly did.
So when you told her, did you tell her it was both a two-way thing?
I told her that there was something going on with him and I. It began when I was 14. Because the bottom line is this, even though, yes, mentally I knew better, but my thing, I need for people to get the big picture. When it's a situation we've seen talk shows where it's a daughter and her biological father, and she feels like she loves him, and that, it's psychological. It honestly is, because I was conditioned to lie. And beginning at 2 years old. So if you start off, if somebody began to tell you something from age 2, you believe that. If nobody has ever told you otherwise, you believe that, And so it was, I never felt afraid or anything. Unfortunately, I didn't, because to me, I felt like I was already damaged goods. You know what I'm saying? And I think honestly, a lot of times when we're in relationships, the guy is, mentally, physically, verbally, emotionally abusing us. If you've, dealt with that, sometimes you'll be like, man, this is all I'm worth, And so I grew up thinking this is what it's gonna be, this is what my life is gonna be.
So how did deliverance come about? You had this destiny situation, so how did deliverance come about in your life?
I just made up in my mind, like I said, even throughout the time that the situation took place, there would be days that I would be getting ready for school. and I would have to like literally shove him out the bathroom for me to just get ready for school. So it wasn't like, I mean, it was instances, you know, I stayed on punishment all the time. Like I couldn't, you know, enjoy my friends. I used to love to go roller skating. And it was almost like, you know, like it was dangling a bloody piece of meat under a shark, you know, like I know this is what she likes to do. So it was like, it was a control thing, you know, and we see that in relationships, honestly, you know. So I don't know, like I've always known that God had a call in my life. I never felt like, oh God, what, you know, why did this happen to me? You know, I never ever felt like that. I believe that everything happens to us for a reason. I believe that every single thing we go through is for the making of us, you know. So it was the making of me. I believe that my past caused me to be the mother that I am. I truly do. So I don't know, like I don't know. I think I just kind of had in the back of my mind, like, I gotta get out. Like, I gotta get out of this place. It was almost like I was planning an escape and didn't tell anybody. I went and got a storage, like I said, I went and got a storage space and just started accumulating stuff and I didn't even have a job, let alone someplace to move. Like, but I knew in my mind the only way that I'm gonna get from up under, you know, this man's thumb, you know, like under his hand of power, you know, is if I get out of here. So, but I mean, like we had fights. I remember in 10th grade, he came up in my room one night. I never knew when he was coming. So again, it wasn't like we just had this relationship. It wasn't like that. It was just, I don't know, it was almost like it was something that I just succumbed to, you know?
Because it sounds like because of the years that you were actually molested from 2
Exactly.
to 12.
Exactly. It just picked up where it left off. It basically picked up with him where it left off with all of those other instances. So, you know, I mean, and these were uncles, these were people who I was familiar with. So no, I wasn't afraid. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that people need to be mindful of. You know, people that have little children, a lot of times it might be a church member, it might be, you know, your next door neighbor, it could be anybody, you know. So that's why I have such a heart for children. It is just because my innocence was stolen. I'll never know what age I would have been where I would have been curious to just have sex. You know, honestly, growing up, I was so afraid, like all of my friends, you know, I'm in middle school, junior high, whatever, and all of my friends, they trying it, and me, I was just like, I cannot let anybody touch me because he'll know my secret. Like, I literally grew up, you know, I mean, in which I shouldn't have anyway, but I'm just saying, you know, just the thoughts that went through my mind my whole entire life. So I always felt God was there. I don't know, and he made us to do certain stuff, like even though sometimes we look and be like, wow, how did she survive that? Like God, he knew that Karletha could manage that, you know, whatever that task was that he put on me. So
did you have like, was it unforgiveness at all, or any hurt like towards yourself? I know, like I've heard I had a friend that was in a situation like this, and it was like hurt, like she had hurt like towards herself, or unforgiveness towards herself, like she couldn't forgive herself for her allowing her to do this, or she let it go on for so long. Was it any hurt? Was it any unforgiveness? Did you have to deal with something like within yourself that was like, God, like this is wrong? You know?
It hurt me that I hurt my mom. It did hurt me that I hurt my mom. It hurt me that, you know, I guess whenever it was to come out, that I knew, you know, my family would be disappointed. I remember when my grandmother asked me about it, because she's like, Nene, so what do you mean by, you know, y'all were messing around? And I told her, I said, Granny, you honestly don't want to know that. Like, you don't want to know those details, you know. And she was like, well, I put you on a pedestal, and you know, and I told her, I said, Granny, I'm human, just like, you know, Sally Sue or Joe. I'm just human, and so that's why it's important for us not to put man, period, like nobody on a pedestal just because we're all subject to fail. But yes, I mean, I had remorse about what I did, but again, like I said, I think that it was mentally, it was just like when you think of relationships, it was money, it was clothes, it was cars, like he gave me all of that stuff, and so unfortunately, it was just like, I don't know, like a girl, being swept off her feet by, some guy in high school or something, except this was a grown man.
So was it like a relationship? Was it like a relationship? Like this is your relationship during high school? Like you didn't need nobody else?
I did have boyfriends.
On top of that, was it
it was like that was like my secret life.
And was it ever like discipline? Did you ever did he ever try to play like that daddy role in front of your mom?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like when I was in 10th grade, I snuck this boy in, and we weren't even like trying to fool around or anything. We were actually at odds, and I snuck him in because I'm trying to, smooth the waters or whatever. And so I snuck him in our house, and the way our house was, it was like the bedrooms were, the main floor, and then you came up, and then my room was at the very front of the house. So I, slide him in through the sliding door or whatever. And so we are upstairs and we arguing. And then here he comes. I don't know when he's gonna come. I don't know. I never know. Like it wasn't like we was like, it wasn't kind of like you and your guy. Like we going on a date tonight. It was never nothing like that. Like he would just have me when he wanted me. He would just have me when he wanted me. And so that particular day, when he came up, like, what do I do? Because I can't tell my guy, okay, he's just thinking that my stepdad is coming and checking the house, right? Mm-hmm. So they kind of have differences. He would be mean to my guys, like when I was in high school, I couldn't go to prom. It was just different stuff. Like, it was a control thing, and a lot of times when it's situations like that, you got people that are like prisoners, like you don't see movies where girls was like kept in the house for years or whatever. So anyway, the guy, it wound up being a big commotion. I'll just say that. And we actually.
So how did that affect your relationships going forward? Like after you got out the house, what type of man did you seek after? Like what did that look like?
Roller coaster.
Roller coaster.
Like literally emotional roller coaster. A roller coaster.
When this was going on, and you said he would come up to your room, where was your mom? Like at that point, or was she was around? Did she know? Like she had no idea?
You know what? Honestly, like I just believe. I'll say this. I won't speak for her. If it were me, I would know. I would know. Like nothing. And I think that's just. In general, I just think a woman should know what's going on in her home. You know what I'm saying? Especially if there are younger children in the home. Like you should check people out. Mm-hmm. Like check people out before you bring them around your children. So.
I did have one last question. Between the ages of 2 to 12, did you ever have any unforgiveness towards your mom to where you thought she should have been protecting you? You thought she failed as a mother? Did you have any time you didn't forgive her, or you were upset with her that you haven't forgiven her for at this point?
I wouldn't say that I haven't forgiven her. I feel like she owes me an apology. I definitely feel like she didn't protect me. I feel like she should have been more aware. There was an instance when I was 5 years old and my brother and I had an altercation, and he just blurted it out.
Oh, he knew.
Yes, because it was like I said, uncles, and my brother saw it one day. And so at 5 years old, I feel like my mom could have put a stop to that at 5 years old. But I never remember a break happening. I never remember it being a space and time where I wasn't around those uncles, where I wasn't around those people that took advantage of me. So It's just a lifelong, just never-ending emotional roller coaster.
So what do you have to say for people that are in this situation and don't know how to get out? Like, is dealing with this and they want an escape, they want this to stop, but they just don't know how and where to go and who to turn to.
One of the things that I will say is that God is a healer. He's a deliverer, definitely. I believe that people can come out of a situation like that. And one of the things that I want you guys to take away from this is that when you ask for forgiveness, like when you truly ask for forgiveness about whatever the sin is, like God will forgive you. And not only that, like you have to learn to forgive yourself. And you have to make a conscious decision to turn away from that behavior, turn away. And not only that, like don't allow anybody to make you feel bad, because a lot of times people will try to throw your past up in your face, but it's up to you to be like, you know what, I'm free, you no longer can make me feel bad about that.
Well, we want to thank you for bringing your testimony. I know that it was